Welcome to The Verdict. I'm Kent Myers. So glad to have you again this Sunday morning. Now, you'll note that I'm on the set again today without my partner Mick Cornett, but he has assured me he'll be back next week, and we're counting on that. But today we really have a good show with or without Mick. We have a show called News from OU Law. There's a lot going on down at the University of Oklahoma College of Law, and we're having the Dean Joe Harroz, join us today and tell us about the exciting events that are occurring, the programs that are being offered, the performance of the students, and everything that makes a law school atmosphere as exciting as it is. We have Joe on from time to time and other deans from around the state from time to time. And this is always one of my favorite times to find out what's going on at my old alma mater. It seems to be going along a lot better than when I was there. But we are really pleased that you join us today. So what I want you to do is sit back, relax. We're going to take a short break. And when we come back, you'll be meeting Dean Joe Harroz, the Dean of the College of Law at the University of Oklahoma. So we'll be right back.
Prices at the pump are hitting new highs this week. In other news,
gasoline is expected to top $4 a gallon this week.
Expect drivers seeing sticker shock at the pump.
OPEC has raised the price of oil again, and Wall Street worries.
Well, a full tank of gas is going to set drivers back.
Straight ahead, the latest news on
My great-great-grandfather, Cyrus Harris, came to Oklahoma Territory, the Trail of Tears, and he served as the first governor of the Chickasaw Nation. I'm Harris Penner, and I own and operate Penner Ranch in Mill Creek, Oklahoma, and I'm Chickasaw. As far as the ranch of Cyrus Harris, my daughters will be the fifth generation on that land. They're the backbone, like the Chickasaw women have always been. They're the backbone of the place. It's been in the family all of my life, all of my grandfathers. My grandfather and my dad were both born on houses on that place. Today, the ranch is a cow-calf operation. The land, it means everything to us. We would never get rid of it. That's our roots, our heritage. It's right there. As far as Chickasaw heritage, I'm proud to be a Chickasaw, proud to be an Oklahoman.
Welcome back to The Verdict. Kent Myers asking you to join us today as we visit with Dean Joe Harroz, the Dean of the OU College of Law. Joe has been Dean of the OU College of Law since 2010. He, before that, did his undergraduate work at the University of Oklahoma, where he graduated Phi Beta Kappa. He did his law work at Georgetown University, was on the staff of then Senator David Bourne for a while, came back to Oklahoma and practiced law with me at Crow and Dunleavy, some of the best years of my life to have Joe there working together with me. He then went on back to the University of Oklahoma and served 12 years as general counsel for the University of Oklahoma. Left for a couple of years in private business, and then in 2010 was asked to come back and take over the law school as dean, and in 2010 he assumed that position and has been doing just a bang-up job since then. This is his second visit with us on The Verdict. Joe, welcome back.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me back.
It's always good to see you. We always have a good time when we're together. I bring you regards from Mick Cornett, by the way. He said to send his regards to you.
Well, he is missed.
In kind of a general way, tell us what's going on at the law school.
Sure, it's a really exciting time at the College of Law. The energy of the students, you've been there on many, many occasions, and just the energy of the students is contagious. Really talented faculty and staff, and the alumni are really involved. Really, this time of year as we head into spring, the excitement of students getting their topics for their arguments and preparing, it's really, really a wonderful time.
I am only aware of this kind of secondhand, but I believe it to be true, that there's been an improvement or an increase, if you will, in the grade point average or previous performance of the students who are being admitted to the law school over what may have been true in the past? Are the quality of student academically getting better all the time?
Yes, and it's not just caused by you graduating. It is.
Me graduating helped a lot of things.
Right. No, so the law school is 104 years old this year, and the last 4 classes have all been at the top in the history of the College of Law in terms of the talent of the incoming class. And so we're really building on an incredible tradition, and the students are very, very talented.
Well, you're, of course, one of 3 law schools here in the state, but you compete with law schools all over the country.
Certainly.
How do you go about attracting continually, year after year, even better students than you had the previous year? How do you do that?
You know, it really builds on itself in a lot of ways. I mean, the talent of the students that are there help you in a huge way to attract even more talented students coming in. The caliber of Oklahoma students we have and the out-of-state students that come, it's amazing how quality attracts quality. And for all the desire to say it's some wonderful recruiting that we're doing, it really is. I mean, our best recruiters are the students that are currently there, and also the alumni that we have in the state and throughout the nation that help on our behalf. So it really is a combination of their combined good works.
To what extent do you actually try to interest students to come to OU, or are you just there waiting for them to walk through the door and you're happy that they've got a good resume?
Yeah, so it's changed over the years. As the state's flagship law school, there is a certain amount of just sort of fortunate natural attraction that goes out to hopefully the best and brightest. But you know, it's interesting, these days, as you know, the number of students applying to law school nationwide has changed dramatically in the last 2.5, 3 years. And so increasingly we're doing more outreach to make sure more individuals know about the importance of a legal education and the opportunity that it provides, and then specifically how we're doing at the University of Oklahoma College of Law.
Yes, enrollment the past 2 or 3 years has been on the decline. I take nationwide. It's been on the decline. You're holding relatively steady,
yes.
I suppose. Why is it nationwide that the enrollment is declining?
You know, it's interesting. This is a part of a big national conversation about, and there's sort of 2 questions out there. You know, one of the big questions you hear is, you know, is a legal education still worth it? And it's interesting because of the national marketplace. The number of jobs out there hasn't changed much. It's really the big starting salary jobs, the jobs starting at $165,000 a year at the big law firms in the major, say, top 5 or 10 cities in the country that have gone away. And so really, it hasn't impacted us that much. It has impacted the national landscape more, and today profoundly. You know, when I look at it, the value of a legal education, I think, is more important than ever because society is getting more complex, not less complex. And the need for individuals that know the law and understand it is actually increasing. And so while there has been nationwide a decrease in the percentage of individuals employed nationwide, really in all sectors, and lawyers has not been immune to that. We've been very fortunate at OU Law. At OU Law, we are significantly above the national average for employment, and hopefully we're doing a number of things to make sure that continues to be the case as we educate our students.
Well, that's one thing. That's the next thing I wanted to talk to you about. Actually, pardon me. It's one thing to go through 3 years of law school and get your degree and hopefully pass the bar. It's something else to get a job afterwards. And I know your school does an awful lot to try to assist your graduates in getting jobs, both while they're in law school and thereafter. Can you talk to us a little bit about those efforts?
Certainly. And, you know, as a starting point, this question of is a law degree worth it? You know, just 2012 numbers show that a student who graduates with a law degree, their earning potential as they come out and over their careers is 2/3 more than someone with just an undergraduate and 1/3 more than someone with a master's degree. So very much still worth it in my eyes. The key is not to graduate with too much debt. And so it's why state flagship schools like ours are so important, so that law schools graduate and can go after a job they're truly interested in, not just a job that pays off the debt. One of the things we've done to help make sure that that remains true is to raise scholarship money. In the last 2.5 years, we have more than doubled the scholarship endowment at OU College of Law. We have increased by more than 50% the number of dollars going into students' pockets with scholarship dollars. You've been a part of that. A lot of folks have. And for the first time this year, we'll actually give out more than $1 million in scholarship dollars to students that are coming here.
Just this year?
Just this year. And so part of being a great law school is to make sure that students can afford to go there, and when they graduate, they can afford to take jobs they want to when they graduate, not just jobs that pays off their law school debt. The second thing is to make sure that you're providing a legal education that is top quality and that meets the demands of today and tomorrow. So it's not just having the same static law degree of 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or 30 years ago. It's making sure that it develops and that it evolves and that our students graduate with the tools they need. We do that in a few ways. So, one of those is to make sure that our students have an exceptional student experience while they're in law school. And that means not just enjoying their time there, and we're very fortunate to have super high numbers in terms of student satisfaction. Over 93% of students through our survey say they would recommend it to a friend or family member, rating it good or excellent. But it's making sure that the students that graduate there have the values of the profession, that we graduate the next generation of lawyers. And if these students understand, as you do and as you practice, the importance of being a professional, giving back to society in the role as a lawyer, and we're seeing great numbers. The number of volunteer hours at the law school the last 2 years has gone from just over 4,000 hours of community service, volunteer service by our students, to 6,000 hours last year, and this year we're at 10,000 hours of pro bono or volunteered time to the community. So graduating with those values is important.
Looking back on it, not necessarily when I was in law school, that's just too far to look back. My eyes don't work that well, I can't see that far. What I'd prefer to do is look like maybe a decade ago. I'm confident that when I was still associated with the law school then, that the number of pro bono hours donated by students was anywhere near what it is today. What accounts for the interest of the law student in being willing to not only work hard, make good grades, but give back while you're in law school?
I think part of it is the nature of the student, but also making sure on day one they understand the values of that. We asked all of our first-year students this year for the first time to take a pro bono pledge, where they took a pledge of service to society as well as client, and also to helping out. It's also making sure that students understand the value of it, and also what a true legal education means these days. Part of that is adding in other components as well, making sure there's an international component to a law student's education, whether they practice in Poto or whether they go to Paris to practice. The reality is today you have to have some understanding of the international component. We've added programs. We've had 40 years of a program in Oxford. We have just started a program in China, a Chinese summer law program in Beijing, China, with Renmin University, sort of the Harvard of China. We also have a fieldwork component now where our students, as part of their education, can go on say 7 to 9 days of field work where they go to a foreign country to study the law. And what that helps them understand is that what we have here in the U.S., it helps them understand rule of law, being a voice for the voiceless, and how that can impact it. So I think it's a combination of the student we attract and also the education that they're receiving and experiences they have while in law school.
Well, Joe, those are exciting sounding programs, and I want to talk some more about them after we take a break, but we're running out of time for this segment, but we'll have another segment here in just a minute. We're really pleased you've joined us today and will stay with us, we hope. We're visiting with Joe Harroz, the Dean of the OU College of Law, and we'll be right back.
They lift, grip, and bear pressure. They carry our state through every season. Hands that simply by doing their job, forge opportunity for nearly 350,000. These are the hands of Oklahoma's oil and natural gas industry, working sun up to sundown for our economy, our future, for every person who lives where these flags wave.
When you have something important to communicate, it becomes clear that there's a lot of competition for your audience's attention. So how can your message stand out and actually resonate with your audience? Legal Graphics has the answers. The team at Legal Graphics will work with you to plan, design, and even test your presentation to ensure your message will be heard and remembered. Call Legal Graphics today to schedule an appointment. The readiness is all.
Welcome back to The Verdict. Kent Myers today visiting with Dean Joe Harroz of the OU College of Law, a long time friend and colleague, and now my boss, because I still teach down there, and he's the dean, and I do what he says. He says he wants to get on this show. I say you can get on this show. In fact, you can own this show if you want to. But Joe, welcome back. So glad that you're here. One thing we didn't get to talk about in the first segment, but I know is important to the students that are doing well and are going to graduate, and that's a job after graduation. What do you do to help them?
You know, it's about preparing them while they're in law school to then get the job once they graduate law school. And so part of this goes back to this theme of making sure the legal education we provide does just that. And so, as you know, for the first 102 years, we offered one degree. Yeah. It was an LLB, and then it became the JD. The last couple of years, we've added a number of new opportunities for our students to help them get jobs and make them better trained. We've added it in a few categories. So there's the general category of real-world experiences with clinics that you are probably involved with that give them real experience, externships across the state and nation and throughout the world, and competitions. We've also added a number of new joint degrees. You know, part of being part of a comprehensive research university is that you can get your JD degree, and with the addition of just one more year, get a joint degree. We've had the Masters of Business Administration joint degree, but we've added a new one in Masters in Health Administration, also in area in International Studies. But offering combined degrees that help our students gain a competitive edge in the marketplace matters, and being at OU as a comprehensive university makes a big difference in that regard. And so we've also added, we're adding next year 2 new non-JD, non-law student master's degree in our area of expertise, energy and natural resources and native peoples. And as you also know, we've added the post-JD, John B. Turner LLM in energy and natural resources and native peoples. So it's a combination of giving them a great education that's broader than just the traditional JD, and also making sure that we match them up and make them aware of opportunities. We have an amazing Office of Professional and Career Development. Just in the last 18 months, we've more than tripled the number of employers that come to our law school to hire our graduates. That team is doing an amazing job. And so this ability to make sure our students are trained while in law school, get experiences while in law school, and then help match them with employers afterwards is working. And we've seen our employment numbers are well above the national average, and we're having really great success there.
Well, you must be doing something right, because I know employers that don't have a good experience on interview day number 1 or year 1 won't come back for year 2. Your folks keep coming back, your law firms and government agencies and the like, do they not?
They do, and it's growing because they understand just how talented these students are. So it's for traditional legal jobs, you know, like in your law firm, but it's also in the oil and gas and energy sector, and across business education. And when you look at where our graduates are, Kent, you know, you realize that graduates of the law school really do flourish and prosper in so many areas, where it's education or the bench or across the spectrum.
I want to change the topic now just for a minute and let you speak about it as you might like to. I know there are rating agencies that rate law schools, U.S. News and World Report, some other publications, Princeton Review or whatever that's called, rates law schools. And there is another national organization that has recently come out with a rating that is maybe one of the highest OU has ever gotten, and puts you right up in the top tier of law schools in the United States. Can you talk about that just a little bit? Yeah,
you know, we're really fortunate. This new national survey by National Jurist came out and had us in the top grouping of law schools in the country. And it had us with, you know, the private schools like Harvard, Yale, and Stanford, and with public institutions like University of Virginia. This particular survey, and I take all surveys, you know, as they come. Yeah. But this particular one looks at 3 things. It looks at postgraduate success, what they do after they graduate in terms of jobs, and it looks at student satisfaction, something not looked at by some of these rating agencies, and then also affordability and diversity. And so I think they're on the right track. Obviously, we fared well in this one, but I think that these days what students are looking for really is excellence at an affordable price. I think that's the touchstone for students to find law school accessible and to find the job they want available after they graduate. And so to the extent that it measures that, which it purports to do, those are things that are important to us, that we are having some success at, and will continue to be our focus in those areas.
Now, I guess the final ranking isn't out yet, but you anticipate coming out very well in that.
We do.
Did you know that was going to happen, or was that just a pleasant surprise for you one day?
It was a pleasant surprise, and all of these rankings of law schools can, especially the independent ones that are national are tricky. We had been ranked a few weeks ago, or I guess a couple months ago, as one of the top 15 best value law schools in the country, looking at both quality and affordability. This new one looks at simply quality as measured by those three criteria we spoke about, and so being in the top 15, 20 of those law schools in the country. Again, we don't live by it, but hopefully it's really good recognition that we're doing some things right, and it recognizes just how amazing our students, faculty, and alumni really are.
Talk about, for me, the major components, the major 2 or 3 components that keep the cost down so that law school becomes affordable and the graduate doesn't leave the law school with a huge mountain of debt.
Yeah. So part of it is being a state flagship. We're fortunate to be the state's only public law school.
So you get state funds.
Absolutely.
Now that's an amount that's been diminishing.
It has been declining over the years.
Yeah.
But it's very helpful, obviously,
Yeah.
and really important to us. And it's really important because it allows students that wouldn't otherwise have the chance to get a legal education to go to law school. And honestly, for this state and society, making sure that access and being able to study the law, to be lawyers, to be advocates, to be judges, is accessible to everyone is fundamentally important to us. And so that, and also raising scholarship dollars to help keep the cost down. We started 2 new annual giving societies to raise money, of which you are a member, and we're very appreciative of that. But those alone have created, just in the last 1.5 years, 2 years, what is equal to an endowment of $5 million to help these students afford to go to college and to choose the occupation they'd like and the profession they'd like after law school.
Do you have an average debt figure for one of your graduates about
Sure.
how they come out? What does that look like?
So nationwide, the average student graduating from a private law school was about $125,000 to $150,000. Graduating from a public law school is around $75,000 to $80,000 after 3 years. We are right at or below the public number, and doing everything we can to get it even lower. We're fortunate to be in the lower group of cost law schools.
We just have a couple of minutes left, Joe. This time has just really flown by. What do you want to do next year, year after, and in the future at the OU College of Law to make it even better? What kind of dreams do you have?
The dreams are to evolve with society and legal education so that our students continue to be the best trained and most ethical lawyers out there that understand the importance of serving their clients and serving society.
Well, you do place a great deal of emphasis, I know, by my exposure, to ethics and doing things the right way and the proper way under the law. Students are well served in getting that. Joe, thank you so much for coming. We are out of time. We appreciate it very much. Our best regards to you and your faculty, and please come back again when you've got a new exciting event to talk about. You're always welcome. You've been watching Dean Joe Harroz, Dean of the OU College of Law, talking about what's news from OU Law. We're going to do that again probably in the next few months, and we'll get an update from Joe. You've been watching The Verdict. Thanks very much.
The good life comes naturally to Tulsa, where nature's beauty is matched with an eye for aesthetics. A legacy of neighborhoods graced with lawns and landscaping and handsome homes. A place that seems to have patented an ideal lifestyle. Bank First is loyal to the quality of life Tulsa assures its citizens, to the priority placed on education, culture, and growth. Loyal to builders who transform raw land into residential charm. Developers who see opportunity and add vitality to Tulsa's economy. Bank First serves both enterprise and private lives that need a loyal partner. It's how we help nurture this city's very good life. Bank first. Loyal to Oklahoma. Loyal to you.
All children deserve a life of hope and love, but sometimes they experience a life of pain, neglect, and abuse.
When that happens, each child deserves all the quality assistance and representation that can be offered in our legal system. For more information, call 23-CHILD.
Oklahoma Lawyers for Children, helping to bring hope and love back to the lives of abused children.
You will always be mom and dad to me.
We are a very conservative family, and we believe in old-fashioned family values. We have a loving home there, and we love kids, and we have 5, 6 of our own. And but I had no idea we were going to go into adoption, but it's been very gratifying.
You will always be mom and dad to me.
The Journal-Record is pleased to be a sponsor of The Verdict. The Journal-Record, since 1903, the best source of Oklahoma business news and legal information. And for almost 30 years, Oklahoma political, government, and business leaders have turned to the McCarville Report for accurate, reliable, inside information. Visit the McCarville Report online.
Welcome back to The Verdict. Kent Myers closing up the show with where we got to visit with Dean Joe Harroz, the Dean of the OU College of Law. Joe's been a longtime friend and colleague of mine, and we're really pleased with what he's been doing at OU. The progress there has been astounding. His predecessor, Andy Coates, just started something rolling really big, and it's going very well there. Joe has picked up the reins and is continuing the progress. We hope you enjoyed today's show. Watch next week. We're going to have a good show for you, and Mick Cornett will be back. I am confident of that. If you want to get a hold of Joe Harroz, his website is www.law.ou.edu, and ours, of course, is theverdict.tv. See you next week.
The preceding program was produced exclusively for the Cox Channel.